What's happening, everybody? How you doing this morning? Welcome to the Monday Mindset Movement. We're rocking and rolling. We are rocking and rolling. Good to see y'all this morning. Hervé Jean-Baptiste, good to see you on yes. Good to see you on Instagram this morning. Hey, everybody, what's up? What's up? What is up? Welcome to the Monday Mindset Movement. I'm Robert Kennedy III, RK3. That's me. Welcome to the Monday Mindset Movement. 15 to 20 minutes of elevation, inspiration, and motivation designed to get you rocking and rolling through your week. I'm so glad that you're here with me this morning. Listen, y'all, here are my questions for today, or here's my question for today. Have you ever been petrified about something? Yeah. And then you did it and afterwards thought, that wasn't so bad. Well, listen, today we're going to chat about that. If you want to know when we're going live, text GO LIVE, GOLIVE, to 240-557-8679. Go live to 240-55-STORY. I'm so glad that you're here. If you want to be a part of the movement, if you want to get connected with motivation and get all of the extra shows, etc., go to Monday Mindset Movement. Go to MondayMindsetMovement.com. Join us in the group and get motivated, inspired, and elevated. All right. So we're getting ready to rock and roll this morning. I'm excited about the year coming up, y'all. 2024 is going to be a banger. Yes. Let's jump into our show this morning, Monday Mindset Movement. Hold on. There we go. All right, let's go. Yes. What's happening, y'all? Clinton Bullard, good to see you on LinkedIn, my friend. Anybody else that's here, do me a favor, just say, what's up? Hey, how you doing? Hi, hello, me, something. Just let me know that you're here. Give me a shout out. I want to give you a shout out too. So glad that y'all are here this morning. Hey, wonderful 1126. So glad that you're here on Instagram. Froze45. Yes, that sounds like a drink. I'm so glad that y'all are here this morning. Welcome to the Monday Mindset Movement. I am so happy to be here with you this morning. We've been talking about, my goodness, positive thinking, limiting beliefs, getting to know the real you, achieving and crushing your goals. We've been talking about that over the last few weeks, launching into new seasons. We've been talking about all of this stuff, and I'm so glad that we are able to get connected this morning because, my goodness, we're going to have a good time today. We're going to have a good time. Do me a favor, if you have not yet headed over or subscribed to our YouTube channel, do me a favor, head on over there and get connected. This morning, what are we talking about? Natalie Gregg, so glad that you're here this morning. So glad that you're here. Good to see you this morning. Yeah. All right. Prajnamoki, good to see you. All right. Good deal. Clinton Bullard, good to see you all this morning. So let me ask you this question. Here's how I want to start out this morning. Do you feel like you're living an average life? Yeah. Do you feel like you're living an average life? Let's be a little bit vulnerable this morning. I want us to share a little bit of our heart, how we've been feeling, what's been in our brain, what we've been struggling with. I want us to start out with sharing that this morning because that's what we're talking about, right? That's what we're talking about today. Do you feel like you've been living an average life? Yeah. Let me ask you another question. Do you feel like you're in a rut or nothing exciting ever happens in your life? If that's been you or if you've experienced that, go ahead and type me in the chat or in the comments. Is that you? Have you felt like you're in a rut or you're just doing it, life is average and nothing exciting ever happens? All right, here's another question. When you wake up, do you say, "Whoo, today's going to be an exciting day," or do you say, here we go again"? What do you say? What is your average day like? How do you feel? I've come across a lot of people recently who they've shared with me or I've heard discussions that they've been having. And there's some version of, I don't know, I'm not sure what I want to do with my life. And this is not just young college people. This is older people. Sometimes I'm not sure what I want to do with my life. My life's not happy. I'm not happy with my life, my job, etc. I see you, Rafrose. Yeah, Antonia Sepulveda. So glad that you're here. Right? I've heard some version of I'm not happy with my job or I feel trapped. Right? I've heard some version of that. Yeah. I remember as a kid, I was probably about 10 or 11. I remember going to camp. And at camp, we had this time where we got to go to the pool. And I was at the pool and I'm in the pool swimming, doing stuff with the other kids, and then sometimes out on the deck of the pool, lying there because I just loved when the concrete was a little bit warm, right? I like that. And I would look across, and on the other side of the pool, there was this diving board. And I would see kids, sometimes smaller than me, going up to the diving board, just climbing all the way up and then jumping off and having tons of fun. Balling themselves up into a cannonball, jumping off, having tons of fun. Doing all sorts of stuff and just having tons of fun. Smiling, squealing, screaming, having tons of fun. But I was in the other end of the pool, or I was on the deck, and I would wonder what it was like to go to the diving board. But for some reason, I was frozen. I was stuck. I was trapped. I couldn't get over to the diving board. Well, one day I decided that I was going to have a little bit of courage, right? I decided that I was going to have a little bit of courage, and I decided that I was going to go over to the diving board. So I walked over to the diving board, and it wasn't a quick walk. It was a slow, tentative walk. I was gathering up my energy. I was gathering up my courage as I walked towards the diving board. And I got to the diving board and I grabbed that first rung on the ladder and I started to climb. And I started to climb. And every time I pulled up just a little bit, I would look down and it looked like it was getting higher and higher and higher. And it's like, I don't know if you've ever been on a skyscraper like the Empire State Building. Every time I pulled a rung, it looked like it was going so high. And I finally got to the top of this diving board and I walked across about halfway. I didn't get to the edge. I just walked across about halfway and then I looked down and I'm like, oh my gosh, OMG, this thing looks so high. And so I am already up here and I start to inch a little bit closer to the edge of the diving board. And as I start to inch to the edge of the diving board starts to bob up and down just a little bit. It starts to waver a little bit. Right? And I'm starting to feel my lungs and my heart and my throat and everything tighten up at this point. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to get out of here. So I turn around. But as I turn around, there's somebody at the other edge of the diving board. There are 2 or 3 other people on the ladder. And then there are a few people at the bottom. And so I'm stuck. I got to do something. I cannot say, excuse me, and go all the way back and get off the diving board. I'm stuck. And so I've got to jump. Here's the thing. I wasn't that strong of a swimmer. But I'm here. And I calmed myself down just a little bit because I said, you know what? there are some lifeguards at the pool, and if something happens, they're gonna save me. But it's still embarrassing to be pulled out by the lifeguards. And so I get to the edge of the diving board and I bob up and down for a few moments, and then I finally jump off. And it takes forever before I hit the water. I hit the water, I go underneath it, I start to flail, I start to close my eyes, and I start to push up a bit, and then finally I get out of the water and I swim over to the edge of the wall. I didn't even get all the way to the edge. I just found the closest wall, and then I got out of the pool there. Now, after I did it, I said, man, that wasn't as bad as I thought it was. I had another situation one time. I was in Bermuda, and there's this dock, and there was this of course body of water, and we were by the dock, and we were saying, yeah, we should go swimming, but I didn't want to dive out in it because it wasn't that water. It wasn't that type of beach or anything where it gradually went down. It immediately dropped about 50 feet. And I said, oh man, I don't want to do this. But there were these kids coming home from school, and some of them, they just walked off the dock in their school clothes and their backpacks, and they just jumped into the water. No fear. And I'm here as a grown person saying, oh my gosh. And so finally, after a little while, I decided that I was going to go and jump into the water. Jumped in, and it wasn't so bad. Swam back to the dock, got back on safe ground, and it wasn't so bad. Now, I share these stories about me because I think each of us has a moment where we're afraid. We've got moments where we're scared. We've got moments where we are petrified about doing something. So we keep ourselves from doing some things because of our own fears. If I think back to the pool situation, I spent quite a bit of time in the shallow end of the pool watching others. How many of us do this? We're afraid of something. We're nervous about something. We're nervous about living life. And so we spend a lot of time watching others. A lot of us do it. We do it on social media. We do it on Instagram. We do it on Facebook. We do it on LinkedIn. We watch other people. And in our minds, we say, hey, we could be doing that thing. We could be doing those things, right? When I was at the side of the pool, I also was dreaming about or envisioning what it would be like to jump off the diving board, but I never did anything about it, or I didn't do anything about it for quite a while. How many of us dream about what we could be doing, but we don't take steps towards doing it? And what happens with a lot of people when we dream about doing things and we don't take the steps towards doing it, we end up complaining about the other people that are doing it, or we find some rationalization why what they're doing isn't right, or why it wouldn't or shouldn't be that way, or how we could do it better. Have you ever come across those people who complain about what other people are doing, but they don't do that themselves? Are you one of those people? Am I one of those people? Adenike, good to see you this morning on LinkedIn. Wow. So here's the thing that happens as well. When you spend your time pointing or looking at other people, like me at the pool, I even began to wonder why it seemed so easy for other people to jump off the diving board. And I began to wonder what was wrong with me. That happens to a lot of us. We begin to wonder what's wrong with us. So here's the thing that I want you to do right now. And this is an exercise I want you to take on. I want you to dig deep for a few moments. I want you to dig deep for a few moments. And I want you to type this in the chat if you could. I'm going to ask you a question. I want you to type the answer in the chat. If you could do the most courageous thing ever right now, what would it be? If you could do the most courageous thing ever right now, what would that be? Go ahead and put that in the chat really quickly. If you could do the most courageous thing ever right now, what would that be? Mark Brodinsky, good to see you. Rashad Bowtie Mills, good to see you. House of Kell, good to see you this morning. Maragatham, good to see you this morning. So glad that you all are here this morning with me. If you could do the most courageous thing ever right now, what would that be? Okay. I see. Teresa says, my office professional says, finish writing my book. Okay. I love it. All right. Janine says, learning how to swim, and I'm just looking at the water from the diving board. Hey, that's okay. All right. Get on the diving board. Get on the diving board. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. If you could do the most courageous thing ever right now, what would that be? So let me ask you this other question. What stops you from doing that courageous thing? What stops you? I haven't seen this movie yet, but I love this quote from it. And the movie's We Bought a Zoo. And it says, sometimes all you need is 20 seconds of insane courage, 20 seconds of embarrassing bravery. And I promise you, something great will come of it. 20 seconds. Sometimes 20 seconds is all that stands between us and greatness. That's it. 20 seconds. Sometimes all you need is 20 seconds of insane, I'm blurry. All right. Insane bravery or insane courage. Yeah. 20 seconds. If you haven't read the book, The 5-Second Rule by Mel Robbins, go ahead and read it. The simple tenet or the simple principle inside of it is counting yourself down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then doing it. Just doing that thing. I love this book I've been reading recently called Scare Your Soul by Scott Simon. And Scott Simon talks about wanting to play a musical instrument, but having no skill at doing it. And so he decided one day that he was just going to get over himself and play a 10-minute concert on the guitar on a street corner just to get past the fear. 10 minutes. He shares another story of a woman who had always wanted to be a cheerleader. This lady was about 50 years old, and she had not gotten to be a cheerleader in high school. So at 50 years old, she got up the courage to call the athletic director at a high school close by to tell him about her dream. Right? And as she told him about the dream, she began to feel her fear building back up, and he invited her to come practice with the team. And so she went to practice with the cheerleading team for a week, and she was a dancer, so she was able to get some of the moves. And then they invited her to perform with them on the field for a big game. She did this, and as she ran out onto the field, they announced her name, and she just kind of felt the fear building up. But as she got into this, part of the reason that she was fearful about this was, number one, she didn't get to do it in high school. But number two, now here she is at this 50-year-old age, and she's got kids 30 plus years younger than her on the field. How would she look next to them? But she did it anyway. And then as she finished it, she got off the field and went back to her seat in the stands. And as she did this, she got back to her seat, and so many people came up to her saying that she inspired them because they'd had these dreams. They'd had these things that they wanted to do all their lives, but they did not do them. For one reason or the other. They were scared of criticism. They were scared of failing at it. They were scared of what people were going to say. They were scared of how they were going to look. And she inspired them to do something. What are you holding back from? What are you holding back from? I want to encourage you to scare yourself daily. Eleanor Roosevelt had this quote that says, do something every day that scares you. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to get out a pad. You can do this right now, or you can do it later today. I want you to get out a pad. And what I would like you to do is make a list of things that scare you. Make a list of things that scare you. All right. For some people, that's public speaking. For some people, it's networking. Ooh, right. For some people, it's being criticized. For some, it's being put on the spot. For me, for Robert, It's snakes. Right? For some people, it may be skydiving. For other people, it may be roller coasters. For other people, it may be riding a bicycle. Right? Make a list of things that scare you. I want to encourage you to take this on, because if you want to live a life of growth, if you want to live a greater life, if you want to live a fulfilled life, you've got to live a life where you address the things that scare you. And as you're making this list, I want you to do this. I want you to give yourself some grace. Part of the reason a lot of us don't want to address the things that scare us is because we see them as negatives. If I'm scared about something, that's a negative thing. But here's the thing. Faith doesn't happen without fear. Faith doesn't happen without fear. In order for us to have faith, we've got to have things that we're uncertain about. In order for us to have faith, we've got to have things that we're scared of. Right? Faith doesn't happen without fear. So give yourself some grace and avoid looking at your fears as negatives. Okay? So you've made your list. You've given yourself some grace. Here's the next thing that I want you to do. I want you to choose a small fear and then put a date on your calendar to take a small step towards addressing that fear. Okay, if skydiving is a fear, okay, put a date on your calendar that you're going to call the skydiving company to schedule a skydiving or find out more about it. If riding a bicycle is a fear, then go on Amazon and purchase a bicycle. Or maybe you want to start out by looking at pictures of bicycles and then scheduling a bicycle learning class. Take a small step. Take on your fears. Take on a fear. And here's one of the things that I want to encourage you to do as well. If you've got a fear that you've been avoiding, take on that fear with a family member or an accountability buddy. Right? Take on that fear with a family member or an accountability buddy. Schedule it. Be intentional about it. Add time on your calendar to take on that fear. Yeah. Are you ready to become the best version of you? That version of you, that best version of you doesn't happen without growth. And growth doesn't happen without you choosing to push past regular, average, status quo, routine, same old, same old. Growth happens when you grab your courage and you do the scary thing. Growth happens when you are intentional about scaring yourself daily. Make sure that you scare yourself daily. Hey, y'all. Scare yourself daily. Be curious. Make a choice. Move. Start a movement. Be a movement. Join me next week, Monday, for the Monday Mindset Movement at 8 a.m. on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Are we on X? We're on something. We're here. Join us at 8 a.m. next week, Monday, for the Monday Mindset Movement. Hey, y'all, sometimes all you need is 20 seconds of insane courage, 20 seconds of embarrassing bravery. I promise you, something amazing is going to happen. All right? We'll see y'all soon. Peace.